Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Is this thing on? It should be on. If you guys can hear us, we would appreciate you let us know on the chat.
Ooh, people are joining. Yay. We were so afraid nobody's going to wake up so early on Monday morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Amazing. I see some familiar faces. Hi, JK. Hi, Mahina. Hi, Daria. Hi, Ola. Marta. Milica. Veronica. Sarah. Hello. Awesome. We're gonna load up on caffeine while we're waiting a couple of minutes for everyone to join. Let us know in the chat, by the way, and use the chat for asking questions, any comments on the session. If you can't hear me or MJ or anyone, please let us know. I'm also going to use this couple of minutes to plop in some resources into the chat that are going to be useful for you. So as you know, this is a boot camp, so there will be some exercises and homework. So in the chat now, you will find the worksheet for
Okay.
today's
I am
session.
hearing that the chat is disabled, so I just need to figure out how to enable it.
Or
And
it
I
might
think
have to
that
go to,
happens right now. So can you guys give it a spin? Yay!
yeah, okay, I'm gonna paste it again in case the previous message didn't work out. Okay, so the first link I would like you all to click on, this is the worksheet for today's session. And we'll be doing some exercises live. And the second link you may also want to click on. This is the ABM budget calculator, which we spent quite a lot of time on building, honestly, the formula. So this will be really helpful for you to also use during the session to fill in your worksheet. And then you have some additional resources that will not be used directly during the session, but the last one obviously is the slide deck if you want to refer back to any of the information I will be talking about today. But I'm gonna, before I monopolize discourse as I usually do, I'm going to hand it over to MJ for the intros. I think we
Yes,
can start.
I think we can kick things off. Yes. Hello everyone. My name is MJ and I'm the co-founder of ZenABM and I'm thrilled to have you all here for the first session of our bootcamp. We've been working a long time and really hard for this to have this killer lineup of speakers for you. And I'm sure it's going to be super valuable for you and for your ABM plans for 2026 and beyond.
Uh,
So
just one, I can only send things to the host and panelists, it seems.
I think you need to just switch on the left-hand side to everyone.
I can't.
Okay,
Uh,
now it's fixed. So
yeah,
let's see the links again.
everyone.
Sorry.
Okay, now I can.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry guys. Zoom is gonna be Zoom. So you got
Classic
the links
early issue.
now. Yeah.
Yes. So now, yes, to kick things off, again, welcome everyone to the bootcamp. My name is MJ. I'm the co-founder of ZenABM. With me, we have Emilia, VP of Marketing in Userpilot, and a very important person for ZenABM who's going to help us out today to learn how to strategize on your campaign and LinkedIn ads. I'm going to let her do her intro and talk about everything else. But quick pop in before we hand over the microphone of what ZenABM is so you know what you're dealing with. So ZenABM is a platform for running ABM campaigns on LinkedIn. Specifically, we designed it for this. You get company level insights where so you see all of the ad engagements for companies, account scoring out of the box. You got the entire customer journeys with deal attribution, so you understand how your deals were influenced by your ABM motions when they were opened. We give you the entire analytics suite for pipeline and revenue attribution. So your ROAS, your pipeline per dollar, how many companies did you actually reach? So how much pipeline you influenced, all of it out of the box, 3 minutes setup done for you. And you don't even need to use the all of the tables. We have an AI agent, Zena, who can answer any of your questions. So we can ask it stuff like, top performing ads for last couple of days, compare specific campaigns, understand their impact on revenue and efficiency, all of it out of the box, whatever you can think of, Zena can probably answer for you. And yeah, that's roughly it. You can try it for free at zenabm.com. There is a code bootcamp that gives you 10% off, valid till the end of the bootcamp, obviously. 50 users, first come, first serve. So if you feel like this is for you, don't wait. And without further ado, I'm stopping sharing my screen, shutting up and giving the microphone to Emilia.
Thank you so much, MJ. I'm going to share my whole screen now so I can switch between the tabs. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So we are going to kick off with the first workshop on our LinkedIn ABM bootcamp, and it's going to be about the foundations, how to set up your LinkedIn ABM campaign strategy from goal setting to results tracking. And again, if you go to tinyurl.com ABM workspace, you will also see all the resources I shared in the chat. What are we going to be doing for the next 4 weeks? So if you've been reading our emails, you know that there are 5 core sessions and a whole lot, 10 plus guest lectures, which are complementing the core sessions with additional information, additional takes on running ABM programs on LinkedIn from experts. Today, we're kicking off with the strategy, goals, budget, target accounts, campaign structure, creating and launching ads. It will be a very intense session with some hands-on elements. So stay with me. We may run over a little bit. So if you can stay until 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., depending on where you're tuning from, it will be great. On the 3rd of February, we're going to have session 2 of the core sessions on target account list building. It will be, again, a hands-on session in Clay, how to use all the tricks and tips to basically build the perfect target account list. Then session 3 will be how to automatically follow up on the interested accounts in your ABM campaigns through email and LinkedIn, and with automated sequences that will be doing the prospecting based on ICP for you, and everything will be working pretty much on autopilot. Session 4 is the LinkedIn ad campaign launch session. So how to avoid costly mistakes while actually launching your ads. So you'll have some time between today and session 4 to actually complete your campaign based on what you learned today. But it would be good if you attended it with some ads already ready to kick off. And then finally, on the 19th of February, we'll be doing a live workshop where we will be reviewing your ABM ads live. So we'll need some volunteers for that. About myself, I'm, as MJ said, the VP of Marketing at Userpilot, and for the past less than 2 years, I've been growing our ABM program from 0 to 5+ million in influence pipeline with 2x return on ad spend and $10 in pipeline per dollar spend. That's the efficiency. Some ABM was kind of born from my frustration at failing to find an affordable tool that would be designed for the process of running ABM on LinkedIn specifically. Your turn. Guys, let us know in the chat what your role is, why are you attending the bootcamp, get to know each other. On Slack, there are a lot of people that have already joined. If you haven't joined Slack, please do. Again, the link is in Notion Workspace. So tinyurl.com/ABM Workspace, and please interact with each other. It will be really, really helpful. In today's session, we will start from LinkedIn ABM goals and budget, because a lot of people start running their LinkedIn ABM campaigns or ABM campaigns in general without actually knowing what they want to achieve. And this is, of course, a common problem, but how can you hit your goals if you don't even know what your goals are? That spills over to the second, problem with ABM campaigns that I see a lot from, the folks that I talk to. Basically, if you don't know what you want to achieve and what budget you need to achieve your goals, you don't know how many accounts you need to target and how many ads you can actually run, because that again depends on your budget and on your goals. So in the first 3 points, we will talk about that, because, you know, like how many ads you can run realistically with your budget will also inform the structure of your LinkedIn ABM campaigns. That's another common mistake I will be going into a bit deeper in the session in step 3. If you run too many ads at a time, most of your ads will not actually reach your target audience. So there's no point in spending all this time designing them and diluting your campaigns. Then step 4, we'll be actually looking at what ads to create and how to create them based on best practices. One of the links that I shared with you is a link to our ABM LinkedIn ads benchmarks report that we did based on the data from 211 of our users, qualitative data and quantitative data. So we did both quantitative data analysis in terms of CTRs, average deal open rate, which will be super important and interesting, and also qualitative analysis, so visual analysis of the ads that had the best performance, so highest CTRs. And based on this, I will be able to tell you what the best practices are. The report is very fresh. It was done less than a month ago, so the data is pretty up to date. And then finally, I will touch upon what we'll be talking about more in, I think, the fourth session. So avoiding the mistakes when launching your ads. And then I will dive a bit deeper into how actually track your results, so you know whether your campaigns are on track and whether they are moving you towards that goal you set up in step 1. And then I will again touch on how to follow up on interested accounts, and we will be diving deeper into that in session 3. Okay, so let's kick off because we have a lot to cover. After today, you will know how to set up your campaign goals, so your revenue targets, what should be your target account list size and the budget you need to hit your goals, how to structure your ABM campaign on LinkedIn, how many LinkedIn ads you should create with your budget, plus the best practices for creating them, and which ads you should create, again, based on the best performing campaigns we've seen among our 211 users, and plan your ads. And then you will learn how to score accounts by engagement and follow up with the most engaged ones, so you can maximize the results from your campaigns. So again, the worksheet, the link is in the chat. Our ABM story was featured in Kyle Poyer's case study, a very tactical guide to ABM in 90 days. Some of you may recognize me from there. And these are the results that we managed to achieve at Userpilot. So after 3 months, we were already at 440K in pipeline, then at 900K after 5 months, and after 6 months, over 5 million in pipeline, out of which we closed over 2 million already, almost $11 in pipeline per dollar spent, and 2x ROAS. We spent just under 490K. So actually, yeah, that's more ROAS. Userpilot results we are tracking them, of course, with ZenABM analytics dashboards. This is what it looks like. This is one of the metrics of campaign effectiveness. The report of campaign effectiveness. It basically shows us how many companies we not really targeted, but actually reached, because it fetches the data on how many companies we reached directly from LinkedIn API, what revenue was influenced, what pipeline was influenced. So basically, how many of the accounts that have engaged with the ads have opened deals and closed won deals, and the ACV. Okay, now we're moving on to the more practical part of the workshop. And word of warning, this is going to be the most maths you will do probably in this bootcamp. But don't worry about it. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. But let's hear, folks, in the chat, how many of you have set your budget based on your revenue goal? let us know. MJ, can you see the chat? Because I can't see it while I'm sharing my
I do,
screen.
and
Yeah,
we have some people
we have some
already
people.
coming up.
Great,
Yes,
great. That's
hands are being
fantastic.
raised.
Awesome, awesome. Send me some emojis if you know your revenue targets and you set your budget accordingly. Right, so there are, of course, different methods of calculating how much budget you should spend depending on your revenue or pipeline goals. Giving an example here of how you can calculate it based on reverse engineering your revenue goal. So let's say you want to hit $200,000 in revenue per quarter, and you have a 20% close rate and 25K ACV. So in order to achieve this target, you need to generate $1 million in pipeline, which has 40 deals. And let's say your qualification rate is 50%. So simple math, in order to hit 40 qualified deals with 50% qualification rate, you need 80 demos, or however you define your conversions. Maybe you convert people from trials directly. So to get 80 demos, how many people need to land on the landing page where they're booking the demo or signing up for the trial? So by the way, we have a great guest session on landing pages. If your landing page conversion rate is low, go to Taz Bobber's guest lecture. I think is happening early February, and she basically does landing pages for LinkedIn ads for a living, and is a great expert. So we'll explain how to improve that website visit to demo conversion. But let's say for the purpose of this calculation is 1%. So with 1% demo conversion rate, you need 8,000 website visits to basically generate 80 demos. Okay, how do you get 8,000 website visits? So let's now calculate in the step 2 the number of target accounts and impressions you need to hit this number of visitors. Okay, so this is where we are going to rely on a metric from our LinkedIn Ads ABM report. This metric is the median deal open rate. So overall, among our users, from all the companies they were targeting that have seen their ads, right? So we're already talking about audience penetration here. So the penetrated accounts, overall, they on average, that's a median value, not average, but on average, they got 0.58% conversion rate to deal open. So if you divide that by the number of deals that you need to open this pipeline, these are qualified deals, you need to hit around 7,000 accounts to generate that. Okay, and how to get 8,000 visits from 7,000 accounts? So now we're going to use another metric from this report, which is the typical CTR. It's quite high because this is an average CTR from all the ad formats. So this includes thought leader ads, as you know, the ones of you that have been running thought leader ads before, they have much higher CTR because it includes other clicks. So it is a little bit skewed, but as you can see, to get 8,000 visits divided by 0.69%, this is around 1,159,420 impressions. Okay, so now how much would it cost you to buy 1.1 million impressions? Well, that depends on your CPM, so cost per 1,000 impressions, right? And again, we are using the median value from our report. Here, the typical CPM was $78. So if we divide the number of impressions that we just calculated we need by the 1,000 and multiply it by $78, gives us just under $91,000 in required budget. Of course, this is simplification. You never know, exactly how it will go with your campaign. but this will help you estimate a reasonable budget to achieve your revenue target. Now, next step, let's actually go to our worksheet. Let me know if you can see the worksheet now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I can see some people in the Google Doc already. Please copy this worksheet to your Google Drive and fill it in. And exercise 1 is about setting your campaign goals, so your revenue target. So again, I want to achieve, like say, 200,000 in revenue pipeline in the next 3 months. My ACV, average contract value, is, let's say, $50,000. So the number of deals I need to achieve, I need to achieve my revenue pipeline target is what? If you don't want to calculate it all by hand, then I would recommend going to this link, zenabm.com/free-tools/ABM budget calculator. You have it in the chat as well. Okay, so annual revenue target, if $200,000 was my quarterly revenue target, then actually this is correct. 800,000 will be my annual target. And let's change this number to 50,000, my ACV. My qualification rate, oh, that sounds pretty reasonable, 75%. And my close rate, okay, let's say it's 20% out of this. LinkedIn cost per click, that's another metric that we have here as a placeholder. That's the average value, but let's say my cost per click is a bit higher, actually. Oh, MJ, I think there is an issue with the calculator. It's kind of fucking up a little bit. Okay, landing page conversion rate. Let's say I'm a bit better than that. Oh, and this works a bit funny.
Just use the slider.
Okay, use the slider. Okay, and click-through rate. That's a bit poor. Let's increase it. My average ad click-through rate. Okay, so that gives me my campaign metrics. So in order to hit that revenue target, I would need to, with these metrics, spend $106,000, and the monthly budget is just under 9, and 18,391 accounts. That looks quite plausible to me with these metrics. These are quite decent, honestly. Did you manage to use it? Are you guys filling it in? Are we following?
The only question so far was, is this calculated on quarterly level?
No, the calculator is, this is an annual target. So
yeah,
it's on annual
just
level.
divide it by 4 for quarterly.
Yeah, for quarterly, you can divide it by 4. For, well, monthly, you actually get the monthly budget here. And of course, there are some dependencies. So the length of your sales cycle will largely, you know, also influence how soon you see the results, right? Okay, so moving on. Exercise 2.
There's one more question before we move forward, which is there a way to limit the target accounts and then get the rise in other 2 metrics?
Yeah, for sure. So your audience penetration, but this is kind of a topic for yet another session, and I'm sure a lot of our guest speakers will be talking about it as well. Your audience penetration determines, you know, like how successful your campaign will be. So if you can reach more accounts, or you can achieve higher frequency with your ads, then potentially you will need to target fewer people. Another way to increase your efficiency is through the follow-up on LinkedIn, DM, and through email. So reaching out to the interested accounts and basically applying a more multi-channel strategy, right? Here, this assumes you're pretty much running your ads alone, but of course, if you make these accounts work harder for you, you can achieve better results and higher efficiency. But I have most experience and best results with the one-to-many play, right? So targeting a lot of accounts and trying to capture existing demand rather than generating new demand, because it's very, very hard to convince someone that they need something they don't know they need. So what I'm trying to do is basically target more accounts and hopefully scoop out the demand, the existing demand from the market. And of course, if I manage to convert someone, then it's great, but I don't kind of count on it. So that's why so many accounts. Okay, I hope we all have it filled in now. So we can move back to the presentation. Again, these are the benchmarks from our reports, and you can access it through the links on Notion or in the chat. Again, it has a lot of interesting information that I'm also leaning on in this report. But now that we have our annual and monthly budget, a very important equation as well is how many ads you can afford to run. And I made this mistake in the past, and it's a glorious mistake to make, because you look at all your ads and you see you're having so few impressions on the ads. So basically people are not seeing them and you wonder why. And then I read this post by Ali Yildirim, who's also speaking at our bootcamp tomorrow, actually, I think. He's the co-founder of Understory, which is like a full stack GTM engineering and paid media agency. And give him a follow because he posts really, really good content. He wrote this post about how marketers are burning their budget on spreading themselves too thinly because they fail at simple maths. So for your ads to bring meaningful results, they need to be served to your audience. That's kind of obvious. But if you have too many ads per campaign, the budget is distributed so thinly per ad that you simply can't buy enough clicks and enough impressions to see any meaningful results from your ads. So know which ads are working and which aren't, and to actually serve the ads to enough of your target audience for them to, like, you know, start understanding, becoming aware of your brand and your product. Presumably, when you're creating an ABM campaign, it's a campaign. So there are several ads that basically constitute a series. They tell a story about your product, about the problem that it solves for your target audience. But if they see only one of your ads from the 5, or actually this problem mostly relates to people that are running a lot of ads. So say you have 20 ads and you're only showing them one, the ads are not telling the story. This is not a campaign anymore. So what you need to do is divide your monthly budget by 30. This is your daily spend. And then divide your daily spend by the cost per click times 3 to 4 clicks. So you are aiming to drive 3 to 4 clicks on your ads if you're using the website visitors objective, and I'm encouraging you to do so. This is the maximum number of ads you can actually afford to run, okay? So let's take an example. Let's say your monthly budget is $10,000. 10,000 divided by 30, this is 333 daily budget. Divided by $8 cost per click, that's 42 clicks per day. So if you want to generate 4 clicks on each ad, so 42 divided by 4, this is basically giving you around 10 to 12 ads. And this is the number of ads you can run in your campaign. Just that many. Okay, it may be surprising, but this is what it is. Okay, so this is what exercise 3 is about. Let's now calculate the number of ads you can run. And you don't have to tell us your budget, but tell us in the chat how many ads you can run after filling this in. You've calculated your budget in exercise 2. MJ, are we getting any results yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Let's go for 4 clicks. How many ads can you run?
We have our first answer, 20-ish.
Okay, good. That's a really good
15.
number. Okay, 15. That's completely doable as well. I will show you in a second what is the best mix of ads if you have 15 to 20 ads. This is like, actually a good number for running an ABM campaign on LinkedIn. But before that, I'm going to touch upon whom you should actually run your ads to. So building your target accounts list. This is something that will be tackled in details hands-on in session 2. But I wanted to say many companies start from a completely cold list of accounts. And this is a common mistake because they're just so much harder to convert. If you start from people that already know you to an extent or know you pretty well, because they are, for instance, your closed lost deals or churned customers, you are going to see a lot higher conversion rates. So that actually answers the question that someone asked previously, how to achieve better results with fewer accounts. You can basically manipulate your list so it's not cold. So do your win-loss analysis and understand in the first place which types of companies you usually win. So the size, industry, revenue, country, technography, anything. And then based on that, look at your closed lost deals. It should be closed lost here. No, actually not. But look at your closed lost deals and look if any of the deals there are matching this profile of your ideal company. Okay, and then look at your closed won deals and also figure out who's your ICP. So the ideal customer persona, both the end user and buyer. So that will inform you which job titles to target actually in these target accounts. Okay, look at your churned customers and do the same thing. Like how many of your churned customers, it's not just that they grew out of, or your company grew out of them, but are actually still a good fit, but maybe they were missing some feature and now they could come back. I'm seeing best results from campaigns targeting closed lost deals and churned customers. Then take your best customers and look for similar accounts. This can be done in play. Again, next session, you will learn how to do this. But you can also look at the customers, the competitors of your customers and your competitors' customers. Again, if you are lucky enough to be a tool that like leaves a trace on your customer's website, so you have an SDK that is installed in their app, in their product, you can very easily see who's using your competitors, for instance, with tools like Built With or Wapalizer. And again, we'll tackle that more in the next session, but now let's move on to structuring your LinkedIn ABM campaigns. Now we know what is our monthly budget and how many ads we can run with it. That determines how many campaigns you can run at a time. So if you, in the previous step, while thinking about your list, thought, ooh, I need to target 3 different personas, let's see if you can actually afford to target 3 different personas. So how we define ABM campaigns is by target list. So one separate target audience that gets their separate messaging, separate ads is one ABM campaign. And this is also how it's structured in ZenABM. This is the highest order unit of kind of calculation and attributing pipeline and results. Because you can then easily compare how your different campaigns are performing against each other. So for instance, at Userpilot, we are targeting several different personas. We are targeting product managers and UX designers. We are targeting general marketers and product marketers. We are targeting the ICs, so individual contributors, and we're targeting the C-suite that often contributes to making the buying decisions. And we're also targeting customer success. These 3, 4 personas have very different needs, so we actually run separate campaigns to each of them. But our monthly budget at this point is $80,000. So we can afford to run 4 separate campaigns to a lot of accounts. We're actually targeting 47,000 accounts at the moment. But like if you have a budget of 10,000, you can probably only comfortably run 1 campaign at a time, or more campaigns, but with fewer ads, with fewer ad formats. Then I like dividing my campaigns into cold and warm stage. Warm is basically smart retargeting when you're not retargeting website visitors, but you're retargeting people that are in your target audience list and have engaged with your accounts enough, with your ads enough for you to say that they are interested in your product or messaging at least. So we'll dive into how to retarget companies that have reached this interested stage in a second. But now, campaign structure breakdown based on both my personal experience and based on what I've seen while doing this report on our users, is that these are the ad formats that perform the best and the number of ads I run per campaign. Thought leader ads, this is like the poster child of a very successful ad format. Even in terms of, I will talk about thought leader ads in more detail in a second, but even in terms of clicks to landing pages, not just clicks in general, this format is very, very cost efficient. So if you do include a link in your thought leader ads, and you should, people are going to be clicking on them and they are going to be converting, just like single image, carousel, or video ads. How many of you here in the audience are already running thought leader ads? Let's see, some takers.
There are some hands up.
Okay,
A
great.
lot.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. They are a bit hidden in the settings on LinkedIn, so good job. And how many of you came from the thought leader ads that ZenABM was running here to this bootcamp? Are we getting any people that saw the thought leader ads of our speakers here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, so as you can see, you did convert from a thought leader ad. Congrats. Single image ads, another very popular and effective, a bit more expensive ad format. Expensive, why? Because everyone's running them. This is like the kind of original ad format, the most like well-recognized ad format. So a lot of people are using them. And then unfortunately that makes them expensive. But you still need 5 to 6 single image ads for your campaign to run, or ad set as they're called now, to run effectively. 5 is the number recommended by LinkedIn. I recommend creating 6, maybe even sometimes 7. So you can quickly eliminate the ones that are underperforming and basically test a different messaging. And then a really underappreciated format, carousel ads. Carousel ads are great for combining all the messaging in your campaign into one ad, which makes it really cost efficient to basically, like project your entire message to your audience at once. Text ads, if you use the website visits objective, are practically free. So I don't actually use them when calculating how many ads I can run. So whatever you calculated, right? If it was 15 or 20 ads you can run, you can easily throw in as many text ads as you want. But this doesn't apply to video ads. Video ads are actually really expensive. And they seem like such a nice format, right? A couple of years ago, we always said the video is the most important thing, that it will be the year of video. But it's really hard to create video ads that actually engage. I recommend creating ads that look like UCG content, so user-generated UGC content, because people engage more. It's still, like LinkedIn is still a social media platform. Document ads and DM ads. In the cold layer, I would recommend not to use them at all. In fact, I would recommend not to use document ads at all. And I just had a call last week with our LinkedIn ads rep. And of course, they were pushing me to use more document ads because I'm not using them. And many companies use them to promote lead magnets, webinars, downloadables. This is an extremely high cost per lead for an asset that is very low intent, right? If someone downloads my report today, I don't assume they're ready to buy, right? And if I were to pay $800, which is often the cost per lead with document ads for this download, I would just go broke instantly and use up all my budget. So even for very bottom of the funnel conversion events, I don't use document ads because this is still not a demo booking. People can't actually book a demo through the document ad because it doesn't allow them to book a time on your calendar.
Before
Okay.
we move
Yeah.
on, two questions.
Sure.
So question from an anonymous attendee. I didn't know you can ask them anonymously, but now I know, so you guys know as well, by the way. Which is, what signal makes an account move from targeted to worth more spending on?
Okay, so it depends, right? It depends on your campaign. There is no one size fits all. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the signals I use. And this typically is a combination of a number of factors, right? So ad engagements, plus you can, layer on other data from your CRM. So website visits, for instance, which pages this account engaged with, etc., etc. Any lead magnet downloads, previous interactions with your brand. There's really no one size fits all, but you need to decide what it means for you that someone is showing interest. For instance, you create a list of high intent landing pages and you see if the account visited these landing pages. You can actually do this in a very smart way with LinkedIn text ads. And I'm happy to take it offline. If you want to stop being anonymous, please reach out to me. But
So
no.
second question,
Mm-hmm.
sorry,
Yep.
is LinkedIn keeps telling ads are good performing format in the algo. Do you have any tips on picking ad formats based on algo? I guess this was kind of answered already.
I guess these are well-performing ads then, based on the algo, if I understand the question correctly.
Yes, that apparently
Okay.
algorithm rewards video ads.
It rewards video ads. Probably. If LinkedIn says it does, it probably does, but I've struggled to see really good results. Like I've seen very, very high cost per click to landing page with video ads. But maybe they weren't just good enough. If you are really good at video and you have like a strong brand persona, personality, right? Maybe they would work for you. Again, these are kind of benchmark based recommendations, not one size fits all. But let's take this one size fits all for now. Let's assume it's one size fits all. And let's basically look at how many personas or intent groups you can target with your budget. So knowing you can afford, say, to run 20 ads or 50 ads, how many of these separate ABM campaigns can you run?
There is one other question that just came, and I think it's relevant to previous parts. So,
Okay.
what do you think about spotlight ads?
Spotlight ads. Oh yeah, I've tested them. I haven't included them like in the breakdown here. They're quite cost efficient, I would say, but I don't have enough data at the moment on them to be able to say if they're more effective or less effective. They seem like an evolution of text ads where you have a little bit more content there. So it can be pretty much cost effective to like keep on top of mind. If they have worked for you, like by all means, blend them in. Are we getting any answers?
No more questions so far from what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I think we can proceed.
We can proceed. So how many campaigns can you run at a time with your budget? Let's see some answers to that.
I see 13 on the chat.
13 campaigns. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Campaigns.
5, 2.
Two. Okay. Because remember, each
5, 6.
campaign, if you use this layout, right, is between like 16 and 22 ads, right? So 13 campaigns is a lot. Okay. Cool. Let's move on. Touching on moving companies between cold and warm campaigns, right? Warm campaigns are the campaigns that are already designed to push people more towards conversion. And again, in order to move companies between these cold and warm campaigns, you need to score them. So we had this very good question before, how to score them, how to establish basically the criteria for scoring them. For us, for instance, there are several time-sensitive criteria. So our interested stage is built based upon 3+ clicks in the last 30 days. It's based upon website visits, so high intent page group visits. We basically grouped all our high intent pages like pricing, like demo booking, trial sign up, and a few blogs that convert at a very high rate, competitor comparison pages into one target retargeting audience. And we are running text ads with the website visit objective to this retargeting audience. So then if we spot that the companies that have also engaged with our ads are in this target audience, basically de-anonymized by viewing the text ads, we are then able to say that they visited the high intent pages, and that basically altogether with the number of clicks moves them to the interested phase. Again, we're using basically the criteria builder here in ZenABM to structure that, and that gets pushed automatically to our HubSpot. So then in HubSpot, we're using HubSpot marketing. We're moving the companies from the cold to the warm audience. So in a nutshell, that's how we structured it. Yes, you need HubSpot marketing to be able to do that. And I'm happy to dive a little bit deeper into like de-anonymizing with the text ads, maybe in our follow-up session on the common mistakes, because I don't think we'll have time today. Okay, on the dashboard, analytics dashboard in ZenABM, you will also see the number of companies that are in these different stages you have set up. So based on that, you will know if your campaign is basically progressing and what is the account velocity in your campaign. So how many of your accounts are moving to a where stage, which is typically based on the number of impressions. For us, it's 50+ impressions. And when we did our win-loss analysis from ABM after a year of running the campaigns, it turned out that like the median number of impressions that companies had before they moved into pipeline was 58. So we decided that was actually pretty accurate for us. But this is something that, again, you need to establish yourself. But then you look at your campaign dashboard week after week, and you see if the companies are actually moving down the funnel. Are they moving to aware? Are they moving to interested? If they're not moving, then maybe you spread yourself too thinly, right? And you're not actually reaching your target audience. Maybe your bids are too low and your competitors are bidding a lot higher, so you're not reaching your target audience. There are a lot of reasons why you may not be reaching your target audience, including the reason that you don't have any control over that your target audience is not active on LinkedIn. You will never, ever, no matter what you do, have 100% audience penetration rate. So now, moving on, exercise 5. Plan your first campaign. Actually, I think I wanted to move on to exercise 6. Sorry about that. So what would be your criteria for moving accounts between different stages? I put in some placeholders here. You can, of course, change them in your copies. Let's take a minute to fill that in. The lower stages typically are around conversion. So considering this can be a trial sign up or a demo booking or whatever conversion event you have. Selecting number of qualified deals open, and close one obviously is close one. All right, any takers to answer in the chat? How would you define your interested accounts? How would you know that accounts are actually interested?
I will take the second to remind everyone that yes, the recordings will be available. I know some of you has been messaging that they have another calls coming up, Mondays, I guess. But yeah, everything will be available on our YouTube channel and in the resource center. Everything will be linked there, so don't worry if you miss part of this. And we have answers by engagement, 5+ clicks, 10+ engagements. Yep.
Oh, awesome. All righty, let's move on. We're moving on to the part of the presentation where we'll talk about creating your ads based on best practices. So in the report,
We have two more
yep.
questions, if I may bring
sure.
them to the light. So one is, do you separate countries per campaign? Like 15, 16 campaigns per country looks overwhelming.
It does look overwhelming. No, I don't personally, because all our ads are in English. Our target audience always speaks English. So we mix the US, North America in general, so US, Canada, and Europe. The downside of this is that your ads may be, they are running all the time. So in different time zones, you can't like schedule your campaigns to run at the perfect time when your audience is most active, when you mix all the countries. And obviously you can't design campaigns in different languages. So for instance, I know some of the folks I've been working with are working like especially with the DACH region, right? So Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and they want to run ads in German because that will make them stand out more and potentially reach higher campaign efficiency. Then in that case, if you have enough accounts in a specific market that shares the same language, you may want to experiment with a separate campaign. But if your campaigns are not going to be in different languages, the messaging is going to be the same, I wouldn't say it makes sense to separate them by country.
And the second question, to follow up on this one, is how do different ad formats work for the same audience in terms of cost? Because you basically bid against yourself for attention of the same audience.
Yes, yeah, you do. You don't bid against yourself. If you talk to your LinkedIn rep, you are only you're only competing with yourself for impressions, right? But you are not actually increasing your bids if you are, I mean, you're not like increasing the average bids for yourself if you're targeting the same audience with different ad formats. I thought so at the beginning too, but that would be kind of counterintuitive and would discourage you from running different ad formats and even different campaigns to the same audience. So like you can think of it that there is a certain number of impressions that you can buy with your budget, right? And the ads that have the most efficient, basically that are the most efficient, so have the lowest cost per click and are driving the most clicks, so have the highest CTRs, will likely win these auctions, right? For the basically impressions or clicks that you can afford. So yes, in a sense, your ads will be competing with each other between the different formats. But I think we should focus on what is the best format for conveying the message that we want to convey. If it turns out that, like you're a master of video or you're a master of TLAs, and this is enough for you to drive the pipeline and drive people down the funnel, then by all means you can focus on a specific format. But I would still experiment and not limit myself to just one format. Okay, I think we need to move on because we have limited time here. And again, these are the median CTRs to landing page, right? So we compare apples to apples because the median CTR for TLAs includes all clicks, also engagements, likes, see more clicks. So when we look at the median CTR to LP, which is something you don't see in the performance tab of LinkedIn ads, you see it in the engagement tab. The TLAs perform at 0.29% here on average, and this is lower than single image ads, but the median cost per click to landing page is actually a lot lower, right? So we calculated that. Basically, it's not a metric that's available in LinkedIn, but you can calculate it based on basically the total number of clicks to landing page divided by total spend. Total spend divided by number of clicks to landing page on your TLAs. And this is what we got. And that's also how I'm looking at my ads and the format mix. So moving on, this is kind of the ad mix that I'm using in my campaigns. I want to run 5 to 7 single image ads, 5 thought leader ads, 1 or 2 free carousels, and 1 to 3 videos, plus text ads, as many as you want, really. They're very kind of self-effacing, right? They aren't very prominent. So they don't like do a lot in terms of conversions, and that's also why you're not paying a lot for them. I guess people just see them, but this can help build your brand awareness, especially if you have a striking logo, or you can use spotlight ads instead of text ads. They have a slightly higher cost per click because people actually click on them. But yeah, they're also helpful in kind of building that general awareness without racking up high costs. Single image ads, like the staple formats of LinkedIn campaigns, best practices. So have one clear problem or job to be done in your headline, one message at a time. Don't create this feature soup where you're just like talking about your product, especially to audience that is still not aware of what your product is or does. Start with the problem solution framework rather than, like dumping features on people immediately. They work really well across stages, and from this visual research part of the report, this was based on an analysis of 17 ads and the visual elements in them. These ads were really, really highly performing, right? We're talking about image ads that had over 2% CTR. That's a really, really high CTR for image ads. Most of them had photos of real people. They had a specific limited time offer, right? So for instance, a free consultation, or we will set up a workflow for you for free, right? And this came together with a very clear CTR button, right? Click here to redeem this offer, right? Makes sense. A lot of them were part of partnerships or co-branding with another popular brand or an influencer, right? A lot of them had a problem solution framework or a diagram or flow chart in them. So process flows, anything that actually provides value, that educates, rather than just, is advertorial. So these were the patterns that really worked for these extremely high converting ads. And I let my ChatGPT generate one that would kind of represent all these best practices. And here is an example, for instance, of an ad that I've recently launched that also had a very high conversion rate, so CTR. This is not as high as the 17 ads that I've analyzed. The CTR here was around 0.79%, which still for an image ad is high. And as you can see, this is a photo of a real user. There basically is a list of features and some interface and a clear, CTA. Not the best, but also not the worst. Thought leader ads, best practices, right? So this ad, for instance, had 17% CTR and a 3.4% clicks to landing page, which is nuts. Why? It basically told my personal story with how we reached 650,000 in pipeline from our ABM ads in around a quarter, and kind of broke down the step-by-step basically process that we used to reach it, with the challenges as well. So it was very personal. It was an authentic story. I used social proof because that story was featured in Kyle Poyer's newsletter. So best practices here, thought leader ads, usually used for building awareness and building that kind of brand affinity, right? It's easier to do that with thought leader ads than convert people to a demo, right? Don't post thought leader ads saying, hey, book a demo with my product, because that's not what they're for. You need to use them ideally for building your credibility. So have a strong author credibility and authentic personal voice. Use them especially for like more top of the funnel assets like playbooks, these workflows that I work really well. Tactics, freebies, events, webinars, point of view content. Best practices from the winning ads: tone of voice, first person, sharing an authentic personal story. Topic focus, personal transformation stories, how you went from not being able to solve a problem to being able to solve a problem with your product, ideally. Hook strategy, open with a pain point or vulnerability that really resonates. Use social proof, right? So specific metrics, specific playbooks or workflows, and specific results, right? Text, length, and style. All the ads that we analyzed were quite long. So they were between 1,000 and 1,500 characters. They had short paragraphs and line breaks. So write your TLAs like you would write poetry, right? Single lines at a time. Have an offer. Like often, these winning TLAs had an offer and they had links. Okay, so place the link contextually in the story. So like don't put it right on the top, but build the story a little bit and then say, hey, by the way, if you want to use this workflow, here is a link to where you can download it for free. Okay, moving on, carousel ads, right? This is also great as a supporting.
Sorry,
Yep.
Emilia, we have like three minor things. So one,
Okay.
housekeeping. We have 29 minutes left, so I hope Zoom
Yep,
will
I
not
am
kill
aware.
our meeting.
No.
And two quick questions that came up. One, I think was answered a little bit, but we can probably quickly go back to it. It's cheaper to keep people within platform, as in LinkedIn. What are your thoughts on campaigns where the form leads are captured directly within LinkedIn, using LinkedIn lead and forms instead of sending prospects to a page?
I haven't experienced this being cheaper myself. That's why I mentioned I'm not a big fan of lead gen forms on LinkedIn. If they have worked for you, that's great. They haven't really worked for me, both in terms of like bottom of the funnel conversions, or like top of the funnel assets. They were quite expensive compared to like other ad formats that I mentioned here.
Okay, and the second question from Jonathan is, what would you consider a good CPL for TLA for a tofu asset? Wow, so many acronyms.
CPL, cost per lead for a tofu asset.
For the TLA, yeah.
I would say, again, it depends, right? How much is that lead and the tofu asset lead worth for you, right? Can you convert people from this asset? Ideally, if you're like promoting this asset through thought leader ads, you are hoping that people will convert from it. For us, for instance, we were running a conference and we were getting a CPL of around $11. This was actually from DM ads. So I was quite happy with that. But again, if you compare it to inbound, this is like a significant cost. So, obviously you are reserving these ads only for really, really highly qualified audience, right? Like the ideal accounts that you want to convert and kind of, get back into your influence zone. But yeah, it's highly dependent. This is kind of what I've been getting. Cool. So we don't run over. Let's jump back. Carousel ads, best practices. In my experience, what has worked for us is tool comparisons and these step-by-step tool walkthroughs. This can work great for the warm layer of your campaign, for the cold layer, problem solution framework, and for specific jobs to be done. So, you're showing like typical problems of, I don't know, CMOs in 2026 with automating their LinkedIn ads and how to solve them. Feature walkthroughs for warm ads, before and after stories, case studies, or events with multiple speakers. These are some examples, some ideas. Best practices, keep copy short and scannable. Focus on these jobs to be done or problems, and walkthroughs, use them for warm ad layer, because the cold layer may not be ready to, like engage that much with your product. And don't rely on them alone. Here are some of the carousel ads that had a high CTR for us, right? So again, they have some value, right? They provide some information, not just inform about the product. And this is why I think they've worked. Okay, and now exercise, this is actually exercise 5. I mixed up the numbers here. But plan your first campaign cold layer ads. So in this table here, right, for the different ad formats, first select which ad formats you want to run based on either your experience with what has worked best for you, or based on the best practices that I have shared in the meeting so far. And write down some ideas for the ads that you would like to try. Like what basically jobs to be done, value propositions, problem solutions will each of your ads have. And make sure you have one only for each ad, right? Try to make it focused. Any ideas? I will be filling it in. Let's say my persona is product manager. Right? It's important to start with the persona. And what are the jobs to be done of product managers? So prioritizing roadmap with data. And the Userpilot feature that caters to that is product analytics. So I'm going to create an ad that basically focuses on how product managers can prioritize their roadmap with data more easily by tapping into this actionable, intuitive product analytics, right? Another job to be done they have is feature adoption. This is a big problem because they're like, prioritizing the roadmap, launching the feature, but then nobody adopts them, right? So the feature that would then correspond to this job to be done would be in-app engagement, onboarding. Sometimes you may call them experiences, okay? So how to increase feature adoption by, for instance, building these in-app experiences that would nudge people towards their goal. This is how you can fill it in and create this framework for yourself. And then based on whichever ad formats you have like positive experience with, that you've seen a lot of engagement or you're confident you can do, think of how you can, still basically convey this message with other ad formats, right? What thought leader ads would you produce to talk about prioritizing product roadmap? Ideally, they would be posted from an account of the target persona in your company. So if I'm targeting product managers, I would have it posted by a product manager at Userpilot, because this increases credibility, and we've seen amazing results with this. Because people just feel this is more authentic. This is not an ad, even though it is an ad. It's very subtle. All right. I think we won't be checking this one because it is a lot of work. Now, costly mistakes to avoid while launching your ads. As we already discussed, launching too many ads per campaign, diluting your budget, most of your ads won't be serving. Then, splitting your campaigns, slicing and dicing them in too many ways. So if you split your campaigns by intent and by persona, you would then need too many ads to basically, again, run this campaign efficiently. and you would probably at some point have problems with reaching the right audience size. You would be spreading the audience too thinly across too many different buckets, categories, and that may be a problem. So usually try to focus either on segmenting your campaigns by persona or by intent. So for instance, if you can detect that, in your persona, someone is more interested in analytics than onboarding, which is hard, then this is something you can do. Using leads as success metric. I don't look at the leads signing up for my lead magnets. I look at the accounts moving down the different stages and how much pipeline we can open from those accounts. This lead-based mindset is often something that kills ABM campaigns because a lot of people, don't click on ads, right? But still then go into your browser and convert from direct. That's why when we're attributing revenue and pipeline to ABM campaigns, we look at influence rather than direct conversions. Last touch conversions are so last week, I would say. Over engineering your account scoring, having too many stages, right? Keep it simple. Look at your stages for account progression, but don't sweat it too much, right? So if it becomes too intricate, you may basically not see any accounts moving down the funnel. And campaign settings mistakes. I misspelled campaign here royally. Using the brand awareness campaign objective, I personally think it drives low quality leads and wastes a lot of budget. Keeping the default settings on like Lance on LinkedIn, ads network. Again, your reps will be really pushing you to use it because they say like they said to me last week, how about using your ads on connected TV while people are watching Hulu or Netflix? And I'm not entirely sure that people watching Hulu or Netflix will be particularly interested in checking out product analytics, or oftentimes these ads get served to kids, right? So your audience is kids on, like kids channels, which is the problem that I faced a lot with Google Ad Network when we tried, that. Leaving your audience expansion on, again, a common mistake. And using the max delivery bidding strategy, I haven't seen positive results from that. But again, we'll have a session with an ad expert here. This is Halloween costume I created with ChatGPT, basically listing all these common mistakes or pitfalls that LinkedIn sets for you. Okay, and step 6, we're drawing towards the end of the session. Obviously, you need to track results. Here's what I measure to evaluate how my campaigns are doing. So core ABM campaign metrics, accounts moving down the funnel. So moving stages on a weekly basis. Stage to stage conversion rates, right? So what percentage of my audience roughly, moves into the interested and then considering stage? So I can plan my campaigns. Realistically, if I know that 1% of my audience will book a demo or sign up for the trial, so move to the considering stage, this helps me again evaluate like what results I can expect. Because the exercise we did at the beginning of the session with setting your budget and target audience size, of course, this uses some assumptions, and you need to test these assumptions in practice. Okay, then 2 more important metrics, more lagging metrics, is the pipeline influenced. So basically, how much pipeline are my campaigns contributing? Is it efficient? So pipeline per dollar spend, are my campaigns, bringing me closer towards the goal I want to achieve at a reasonable cost, right? Because there are some campaigns that are just not efficient enough for you to ever get positive ROAS. And sometimes it's also okay if you're focusing on growth and, your company is happy to be, basically burning the budget for a while to achieve growth at all costs. This can sometimes be like acceptable. But if you need to be profitable, that's a different story. You really need to focus on the pipeline per dollar spent. And add the diagnostic metrics. So CTR to landing page by format, evaluated only after reaching 1,000 plus impressions, and ideally some ad frequency. So you know that a number of your ads from the campaign have actually been served to the individual users you're targeting. Cost per click. If your cost per click is higher than in the estimate you set in your calculation, you probably won't hit your revenue goals, right? Because you will be running out of these clicks too fast and not enough people will land on your landing pages. It may mean that your bids are too high, or it may mean that your audience is too narrow, right? The same applies to cost per 1,000 impressions. Like the more narrow, the more curated your audience, the higher the cost of running your campaigns typically is. This is something to remember. And again, shameless plug, we're using ZenABM to track both these leading and lagging metrics. And here on the dashboard, this is kind of the full dashboard. You can see what it looks like when you zoom in. So you basically see for each campaign you're running, like your ad spend, pipeline created, close one, pipeline per dollar spent in ROAS month by month. You see the number of companies you reached with this specific ABM campaign, and you see how these companies are progressing through the funnel, in any selected time period. So I cut the settings off here, but you can basically filter this by any time frame, of course. And again, like you get
two questions
before
we move forward. So question number one is, what's your advice on the setting bidding prices, so avoiding max delivery bidding strategy?
Yeah. So basically, I look at the suggested bidding range. So when you use manual bidding, LinkedIn will always tell you for your audience, based on what the competitors are bidding for this audience, what is the range they're bidding at. And I like to start with the lowest bid. If this isn't working, so you see your ads are getting very few impressions with this bid, you start gradually increasing it until your ads really start serving. Yeah.
And the second question, is there a budget below which you recommend not to run LinkedIn ads?
Again, it depends. It's really, really specific to your audience. If you have a very niche audience and hardly anyone is using LinkedIn to reach them, it may turn out that your campaigns can be very cheap. We had one customer in the manufacturing space. They are selling like a very, very specific software for manufacturing to large enterprise accounts. So their ACV is very high. I mean, actually 40, 50K, right? But the companies they are targeting are really large. So they have a very broad audience, which makes their campaigns quite cheap. And there is little competition in their space, it turns out. And it's very, very like specific software. They have a great product market fit. So they started their campaigns from like $400 per month. And it went so well that they started increasing their budget and got up to like over $20,000 per month, and decided to move 80% of their marketing budget into LinkedIn ads. So it's an interesting story. We actually will have a case study with them.
Is there a way to know what ads my competitors are running? I guess using ad library.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, using LinkedIn Ads library, just type it in LinkedIn Ads library, and there you can type in your competitor name and the company running the ads. And you can also see if they're running ads against you by putting your name in like the other field to search by keywords. And you will see what ads they're running against you, for instance. You don't know what their results are from this. So you won't see their CTRs, you won't see their spend, etc., etc. You can book a call with your rep and they will give you anonymized spend data and format data on like a bunch of competitors. So you can give them like 5 competitors and they will give you anonymized like aggregated data for them as well.
Okay, 2 more questions real quick. For niche audience, how does the targeting work? What strategies work to increase audience size without compromising the targeting?
that's a tricky question. How to increase your audience size without compromising targeting? If you can target more, I would say target more countries, right? So try to increase your audience size geographically. And this will be something that will be covered in more detail in the next session, how to build your list, right? So if you have your target account list, try to look for similar companies or their direct competitors. Try to expand on your company list, but in a really meaningful way, and tap into your CRM. This is like the best source of additional accounts. What you can also do is basically, again, de-anonymize the visitors to your highly converting pages and see if there are any additional companies there you haven't thought of.
So the other question is, so for approximately 4K USD, can we run an okay ABM program?
Yeah, I think that could be a good start. But again, it depends on your market and your competition. If your competitors are super active in LinkedIn ads and they are dumping $50,000 into them per month, you may see that your, average bids are going to be really, really high, and that you will be losing most of these auctions, or that you would be only able to run very, very few ads. So that may be the worst case scenario, but the best case scenario, like with one of ZenABM's clients, customers, is that you can actually get away with really good results for this. Cool, and it depends on your ACV as well, right? So a lot of variables here. Again, go back to the calculator, see what you can do with that. Cool. Follow up on interested stage accounts via email and LinkedIn DMs. This is an important aspect of the campaign. When accounts are starting to engage with your ads and show interest, don't just leave them to their own devices, engage them. You can either send that list to your BDRs. When we still had BDRs, unfortunately, they proved to be not as efficient as automations. So we don't have a BDR team anymore. We have one SDR, and we use automation heavily to reach out to these accounts. So basically, we're pushing all the interested stage accounts into Clay. And we have a Clay basically workflow that then searches for the ICPs in these accounts. So if it's a campaign for product managers, we basically look for product managers in these interested accounts. And basically we fetch their email addresses, their LinkedIn profiles, and push those into Smart Lead and HeyReach in our case, to reach out to these accounts, these prospects in the accounts through LinkedIn DMs and email. And here is a template you can use. There is also a blog post about intent-based outbound on ZenABM's blog, so you can read how to use this Clay template. If you're using the Explorer plan in Clay, you can use webhooks to push these interested stage accounts into Clay directly from ZenABM, for instance, or from your HubSpot, and enrich them using this template. Okay.
We got one more question before we jump into the exercises. If you don't have HubSpot marketing, what do you recommend for outbound outreach and tracking ABM stages?
Yeah, for tracking ABM stages, that's easy. Obviously, I would recommend ZenABM. For what was the first one? For engaging through email, right?
Yes, the recommend for outbound outreach.
For outbound outreach, so I would recommend either Smart Lead, HeyReach for email and LinkedIn, or Instantly and HeyReach. That's another popular choice. Why? Because these tools are actually much better than HubSpot for this, because they're designed for sending mass emails, and you can link a lot of inboxes there, and you can basically send these emails out to a lot more leads cheaper, because in HubSpot marketing, you pay for every marketing contact, and it can get very expensive very quickly if you're running these campaigns at a large scale. And also, like Smart Lead is designed for rotating the mailboxes. So you basically protect your deliverability. Another popular choice that I haven't personally used in the recent days, but I've heard good things about it because it combines the functionality of Smart Lead and HeyReach in one tool, is Lemlist. So it offers like these multi-channel campaigns where you can basically send sequences that combine email and LinkedIn messages without switching tools and building complex automations. That's a big upside. A downside is that it's more expensive than the stack that I mentioned before. Alrighty, and this will be the end of our session today. I have some special offers. So of course, 10% off on all plans for ZenABM with the code Bootcamp. And then for anyone that decides to go for ZenABM annual plan, we are offering free consulting packages, basically, one-on-one. So 4 hours of one-on-one workshops, including your budget, ad review, campaign structure, and LinkedIn campaign setup with myself and another LinkedIn ad expert. And yeah, this is valid till the end of the bootcamp, first come, first serve. So if you want to spend more time with me than today, that's an option. Do we have any more questions here in the chat?
Yes, we asked for more questions if you guys have any. And while we wait for them, I'll just ask you if this was useful and you enjoyed it. Just post on LinkedIn about this, tag us, tag Emilia, tag ZenABM. That's going to be super great for us as well. So yeah, we hope it was very useful for you. And we'll keep an eye on if we have any questions, since we have 4 minutes left, but I see the emojis flying. So
oh, thank you guys. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, we'll be happy to answer any questions that may come to your head afterwards, of course. And yeah.
I would just add that the next session is the guest speaker session. That is today, 10:30 a.m. So in just 1.5 hour-ish with Philip Illich, and he will teach you how to combine LinkedIn ads engagements with signals with outbound outreach to generate pipeline faster and more predictably.
Oh yeah, Philip is
Essentially,
great.
it's going to be a good one. So yeah.
We did some consulting with Philip for our LinkedIn ads. So again, a great expert, and give him a follow. He posts some really useful content on LinkedIn as well. Like in general, I would, give all our guest speakers a follow because this is where I'm learning most about LinkedIn ads from.
Okay, 2 questions. So first will be for you, CPM/CPC. What is the best bidding strategy for the narrow targeting list?
I pretty much only use CPC bidding, honestly, because I feel that LinkedIn algorithm then optimizes for audiences that are more high intent and more likely to actually engage and click. You may want to experiment like in the cold layer with awareness, like building ads with CPM. Again, it's very hard to answer this question because what, for instance, hasn't worked for me may work for you with your audience. So do tests, but do tests that are meaningful. So again, like with meaningful budgets and just enough ads to see meaningful results.
Okay.
How quickly will recordings be available following the
Yes, I
workshop?
already
That's a question
answered
for
this
you.
one privately,
Okay.
but essentially we hope by the end of the day that there's going to be they're going to land on our YouTube. So yeah. Yeah, so if we don't have any more
Awesome.
questions, I think we can just close this. I hope successful for everyone, but definitely for us, first session. It was super useful. Thank you, Emilia, for
Thank
sharing your
you.
knowledge with us.
Likewise. And thank you everyone for attending and staying with us till the end, and for some of you joining us at this very early time. And yeah, hopefully to see you in other sessions as well.
Yep.
Cheers.
All righty. Cheers, guys.
Bye.